Every woman's story contains a quiet turning point, a moment so subtle, it's almost invisible, but once it happens, everything changes. It's the shift she never anticipated, the kind that creeps in when you start pulling away without saying a single word. You're still there physically, you're replying, you're present, but something is missing, and she can feel it. Your energy no longer leans in. Your words don't carry the warmth they used to. There's no fight, no drama, no sharp goodbye. It's colder than that. It's emotional silence, and that silence screams louder than any argument could. At first, she tries to convince herself it's nothing. She shrugs it off, tells herself you're just busy, stressed, distracted. She clings to the idea that everything's fine, because the alternative, acknowledging the loss of emotional intimacy, is too hard to face. She masks it with light-hearted texts, maybe a meme or a playful selfie, hoping to ignite the spark again. But deep down, she knows. She feels the shift like a drop in temperature. The warmth that once wrapped her like a blanket is now a distant memory. You don't talk the same. You don't reach out with the same urgency. You're present, but your presence is hollow. And that's when the fear creeps in, not because you yelled, not because you left, but because you didn't. You stayed, but you stopped showing up emotionally. She begins to panic quietly, her mind running scenarios, her heart asking questions her pride won't let her voice. Why did things change? Did she mess up? Is there someone else? The worst part, she knows. She didn't do anything obvious to cause it, and that's what terrifies her most. Because she realizes this isn't about one moment. It's the slow unraveling of a connection she once thought was unbreakable. When your energy changes, her ego doesn't want to admit it right away. She'll keep up appearances, still cracking jokes, still pretending everything's okay, but something inside her is shifting fast. See, most women aren't prepared for emotional withdrawal. They're used to being the center of your focus, the recipient of your affection, your consistency, your attention. When that rhythm breaks, it disorients her. Her pride will urge her to act like she doesn't care, to maintain composure, but her instincts are screaming. She starts noticing the smallest things: how your replies lack excitement, how you don't initiate like you used to, how you didn't compliment her the way you always did. She becomes hyper-aware of every interaction, dissecting them, searching for signs of what went wrong. And here's the truth. It's not that she always wanted you, it's that she always needed to feel she could have you. That power is what fed her ego. When you begin to detach, she doesn't just feel the loss of your affection. She feels a loss of control. She starts testing you in subtle ways. Maybe she posts a picture that she knows used to get a reaction out of you. Maybe she casually mentions your name around mutual friends, just to see if you'll hear about it. She's looking for signs that she still matters, that you're still orbiting around her emotionally. But when she doesn't get that feedback, when your responses stay cool and unbothered, she becomes unsettled. Not because she loves you more now, but because you're slipping beyond her reach. And the mind hates what it can't predict. You've become a question she can't answer, and that's when the obsession begins. Because now, it's no longer about connection. It's about re-establishing influence, and that's a much more dangerous game. When she realizes she no longer has the emotional grip she once held over you, panic doesn't arrive like a storm, arrives like a slow leak, subtle and steady, filling her with unease. She begins to react in ways even she doesn't fully understand. Her messages might become more frequent or strangely sentimental, bringing up memories from when things felt solid. She might suddenly become emotional over things that never bothered her before, not because she cares deeply about those issues, but because she's testing if you'll still show up to comfort her. She's searching for evidence that she still holds a place in your heart, that your emotional doors haven't fully closed. If she doesn't get the reaction she's hoping for, her mind spirals into speculation. Was she not enough? Did she take you for granted? Or worse, did you already replace her? The irony is that she may have been the one who started slipping first. Maybe she withdrew when she felt too safe, or began to take your efforts for granted. But none of that matters now, because the emotional gap you've created hits her differently. You haven't exploded. You haven't begged or pleaded. You've simply removed the emotional currency that once funded her confidence. That's where the scarcity begins to fester. The attention, the care, the way you once responded to her every need, it's gone. And nothing exposes her emotional dependency like your silence. She might try to vanish for a few days, hoping you'll come chasing like before. But when you don't, when you keep living without the slightest ripple of her absence, that's when she truly feels the void. Not because she's in love, necessarily, but because the attention she once used to measure her worth is no longer guaranteed. And that kind of loss cuts deeper than any breakup. Real detachment doesn't come with a loud announcement or a dramatic exit. It comes in stillness, in peace, in that quiet shift within you when you genuinely stop caring the way you once did. And the truth is, most men don't realize how powerful that silence can be until they see her unravel in response to it. Not because you're trying to hurt, not because you're playing some game, but because you've simply reached the point where her behavior no longer affects your emotional state. That's what she wasn't ready for. She was prepared for arguments, for explanations, maybe even for begging. But silence, calm, indifference, that's what hits her the hardest. Women are perceptive. They can feel when the energy isn't real. So if you say you're done, but you're still watching her stories, texting late at night, or finding excuses to interact, she'll know you're faking it. That's not detachment, that's performance. And performance only empowers her ego. But when it's real, when you stop chasing validation, when her texts no longer light you up, when her presence no longer feels necessary for your happiness, that's when everything changes. Because she can't play games with a man who isn't even at the table anymore. Now she's forced to sit with the discomfort of her own actions, to reflect, to wonder if maybe she really did lose something valuable. And while she might try to lure you back with subtle emotional bait, nostalgic texts, sexy photos, delayed replies, it all starts to feel transparent to you. Not because you hate her, but because your clarity has overpowered your attachment. You see the pattern, not just the moment. And that's the difference. You're not reacting anymore. You're observing. You've reclaimed your peace. And peace, to someone used to controlling you emotionally, feels like punishment. There's a certain kind of power a man gains when he finally stops chasing, not out of bitterness, but from a place of emotional maturity. When you no longer depend on her validation, when her attention or absence doesn't define your peace, you've crossed into a different kind of strength, one that can't be manipulated. That's when everything flips. Suddenly, she's reacting to your energy, your absence, your stillness. She feels the space you left behind. Not because she misses the relationship necessarily, but because she misses the version of herself that felt secure in your presence. The man who once centered her, gave her consistent reassurance, held emotional space for her, he's gone. And in his place stands someone calm, focused, and entirely self-possessed. That emotional shift can be more jarring to her than any breakup ever could be. Because it shows her what she lost without warning. She might come back. She might text more, be sweeter, more responsive, even say she's sorry or that she didn't realize how much you meant. But now, you're not just listening to her words, you're studying the consistency behind them. Because real change isn't just about her return. It's about how she shows up once she's back. Most men fold at this point. They confuse renewed attention with transformation. But attention isn't the same as growth. If she only puts an effort when you pull away, if her tenderness disappears the moment you lean back in, it wasn't real, it was reactionary. That's why you stay grounded. You don't chase. You observe. You let her energy reveal the truth. Over time, because the woman who genuinely values you won't just try to regain control. She'll show up differently. And when she doesn't, you won't need closure. You'll just keep moving forward. Because peace, once earned, becomes more valuable than any version of the past.